Before we begin, tap like and subscribe because this story starts with a door closing and ends with a life being rebuilt. It was just past 6 p.m. when I stepped into our house in Elmhurst. My phone was dead. My tie was loose. Another investor call had ended with the same polite rejection. I dropped my laptop bag by the door, expecting the familiar sounds of home, the TV murmuring, a wine glass clinking in the kitchen, and Madison humming while pretending she wasn't waiting for me. Instead, there was silence. Not the peaceful kind, the kind that presses against your chest. I took a few steps forward and froze. Madison was standing in the living room, folding clothes with surgical precision. Each shirt creased perfectly, each movement emotionless. An open suitcase sat on the couch like it had been waiting for me. She didn't look up. "Going somewhere?" I asked. My voice sounded calm, but my chest was already tight. She folded one last shirt, placed it neatly inside the suitcase, and zipped it shut. "I want a divorce, Brandon." The words didn't echo. They landed. I blinked. Once. Twice. "What?" I said. She finally looked at me. No anger, no sadness. Just distance, like she had already left weeks ago and forgot to tell me. "Why now?" I asked. "You pick now when everything is falling apart?" She crossed her arms. "Exactly," she said. "I need something in my life that isn't falling apart." My heart slammed against my ribs. "So this is your solution?" I said. "Pack a bag and leave your husband while he's drowning?" "I'm not your lifeguard, Brandon," she replied calmly. "You gambled everything on a tech dream, and you lost." I laughed under my breath, not because it was funny, but because it hurt too much to stay quiet. "The man who paid off your student loans?" I snapped. "The man who supported your art studio for 3 years?" Her jaw tightened. "This isn't about the past." "No," I said. "This is the past catching up." She looked away, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "I married a man with potential. Now you're just clinging to a dead idea." The words hit like a punch to the chest. "Have you met someone else?" I asked. For half a second, she froze. Not long enough for proof, but long enough for doubt. "No," she said. I didn't believe her. She wheeled the suitcase toward the door. "I won't beg," I said. "If this is who you are, then go." She paused with her hand on the doorknob. "I knew you wouldn't," she said quietly. And then she was gone. No tears, no goodbye, just the soft click of the door shutting behind her. I stood alone in the living room, surrounded by everything we'd built and everything she'd just walked away from like it was an expired lease. That night, the silence didn't feel empty. It felt alive, creeping into every corner, curling up on the furniture, filling the spaces she used to occupy. I didn't sit down. I didn't scream. I didn't collapse, because something else was already taking root inside me. This wasn't just the end of a marriage. It was the beginning of something darker and far more dangerous. The house didn't sleep that night. Neither did I. The silence had weight now, the kind that presses against your ears until your own breathing sounds too loud. I sat in the leather armchair by the fireplace, still in my jacket, staring at nothing while the streetlight outside painted long shadows across the walls. I didn't turn on the lights. Didn't need to. The microwave clock glowed 6:47 like an accusation. I walked into the kitchen, opened the cabinet above the fridge, and pulled out the bottle I'd been saving for a celebration that never came. The cork popped softly. Too soft for a moment that heavy. I drank straight from the bottle. It burned, but not enough. Somewhere between the third and fourth swallow, the truth started forming. Sharp, ugly, undeniable. The startup was dying. What used to feel like a rocket ready for launch now felt like a wounded animal. Investor calls had turned polite. Emails went unanswered. Every pitch felt like CPR on something already gone. I opened my phone. Declined. Not a fit at this time. Final notice. Outstanding balance. I swiped them away. "Not tonight," I muttered. I leaned back, staring at the ceiling. "Maybe she's right," I said out loud. "Maybe I'm not the man she married." A floorboard creaked down the hallway, the house settling or responding. "I'm still standing," I whispered. The rain was still falling when I walked into the office Tuesday morning. That slow, persistent rain that makes a city feel like it's holding its breath. The lobby was empty. No receptionist, no deliveries, just fluorescent lights humming over stained carpet we'd promised to replace for 2 years. The elevator doors opened to our floor. My footsteps echoed. Half the desks were gone. Monitors unplugged, the intern table disappeared, the whiteboard stood blank, a smudge of forgotten ideas ghosting its surface. Derek was already there, hunched over a coffee mug like it was the only thing keeping him upright. "Madison left," I said. He looked up slowly. "What?" "She's gone," I repeated. "Divorce." He rubbed the back of his neck. "Man, I'm sorry." Silence settled between us. Then he exhaled. "I've been meaning to talk to you," he said. My stomach tightened. "I think I'm pulling out of the company." The words landed harder than Madison's. "You're what?" I asked. "I want to cash out my stake," he said. "I've got another offer. Stable. It's a lifeboat." I stared at him. "You always said we were partners," I said quietly. "Thick and thin." "I meant it," he replied. "But this isn't personal." I turned to the window. "That's the problem," I said. "It should be." He didn't argue. He just grabbed his jacket. "Take care of yourself, B." Then he walked out. I stayed, alone in a half-empty office, alone in a company everyone else had abandoned. First Madison, then Derek. People didn't leave in storms anymore. They left quietly, with plans already made. That afternoon, my lawyer called. Court, assets, divorce. By the end of the week, I knew what I would lose. The house, the car, everything we owned together. There was only one thing I refused to let go. The company. Not because it was worth anything, but because it was mine. The courtroom smelled like polish and rain-soaked coats. Madison sat across from me, composed, prepared. Her lawyer spoke smoothly about entitlement and marital assets. When it was my turn, I stood. "I'll give her the house," I said. "The car, everything." The judge raised an eyebrow. "And the business?" "I keep it," I said. "What's left of it?" Madison didn't look at me. Her lawyer nodded. "Accepted." When the gavel came down, it didn't feel like victory. It felt like survival. As I walked out of the courthouse, rain soaking through my jacket, I didn't feel stronger. I felt intact. And sometimes that's enough to rebuild from. 3 days after the hearing, I wasn't sleeping in my car. Not yet, but every shirt I owned was folded in the back seat, and my laptop bag had become a filing cabinet. I'd been couch hopping. 2 nights at a friend's place in Naperville, 1 awkward night on the floor of an ex-coworker's home office. I was running out of places to park my pride. Then my phone buzzed. Nicole Harlow, Madison's younger sister. "Hey, I heard about everything. If you need a place to crash, my couch is open. I'm in Joliet. No pressure." I stared at the message longer than I should have. Nicole, quiet at family dinners, the one who rolled her eyes when Madison dominated the room. Once, years ago, she'd slipped me a note under the Thanksgiving table. "You're the only reason these dinners are tolerable." I never replied. I never threw it away, either. It took me nearly an hour to type back. "Are you sure?" Her reply came in 5 seconds. "Absolutely." Her apartment sat above a florist on a quiet street. Old building, narrow stairs, the kind of place that had history baked into the walls. She opened the door before I knocked. "Hey," she said, stepping aside. "You look like a man who's either heartbroken or recently mugged." "Bit of both," I said. The place was small but warm. Cinnamon in the air, real light through the windows. A blanket folded neatly on the couch like it had been waiting for me. "I'm not going to cry," I said, dropping my bag. "But this feels like oxygen." She smiled. "That pillow's yours indefinitely." The days settled into a quiet rhythm. Mornings at her kitchen table, pitching what remained of the company to anyone who would listen. Calls were short, emails shorter. Most went unanswered. Afternoons, Nicole came home smelling like glue and paint. She taught art at an elementary school. She hummed while cooking. Off-key, fearless. I offered to help with groceries. "You'll pay me back when you're rich again," she said. "I don't take charity." She met my eyes gently. "This isn't charity. This is just life." No pity, just understanding. One night, as she rinsed dishes and I stared into a lukewarm beer, the words finally escaped. "Nicole, I know this is weird, taking in your sister's ex." She didn't turn around. "You're not Madison's ex to me." I frowned. "Then who am I?" She dried her hands and leaned against the counter. "You're Brandon," she said. "The guy who showed up to family barbecues even when Madison didn't want to go. The one who helped me move out of my dorm when no one else would. The one who laughed at my terrible jokes and told me my clay mugs had character." My throat tightened. "I'm just saying," she added softly, "you're not here because I feel bad. You're here because I trust you." That night, lying on her couch, staring at the slow spin of the ceiling fan, something clicked. This wasn't rock bottom. This, her apartment, her kindness, the smell of cinnamon in the hallway, was the first brick. And maybe, just maybe, I still had something worth building. The first thing I noticed that October morning was the silence. Not the suffocating kind that used to sit on my chest, but a peaceful quiet. The kind that comes with early coffee, open windows, and someone humming in the kitchen. Nicole. Always off-key, always unbothered. I pushed the blanket aside and sat up. I wasn't on the couch anymore. That change happened slowly, naturally. One night we fell asleep during a movie and somehow we never went back. My things had drawers now. Her extra toothbrush wasn't extra anymore. And the company? It survived. Barely at first. Then came one small break, a mid-sized logistics client willing to take a chance on my software. That deal became 2, then 6. One morning, I opened my laptop and just stared. 6 figures. The first real profit. From the kitchen, Nicole called, "Is that the face of a man who doesn't have to eat instant noodles anymore?" I laughed for the first time in months. That night, I booked a rooftop dinner. Nothing flashy. String lights, warm heaters, honest food. Nicole wore a burgundy sweater dress and the boots she always called her regret purchase. Halfway through dinner, I stopped eating. "I need to say something," I said. She tilted her head. "Okay." "I love you." No speech, no build-up. Her face softened. Then she smiled. "I was wondering when you'd say that," she whispered. "I've been there for a while." That's when my phone buzzed. "Madison, we need to talk, urgently." I stared at the screen, then typed back, "Another time, I'm on a date with your sister." Nicole raised an eyebrow. "Was that?" "Yep." She smiled. About time she saw who stayed. The next afternoon, Madison showed up at my office, windblown, pale, shaking. She didn't knock. I messed up, badly. I said nothing. "It was Derek," she said. "We were already involved when things started falling apart. He told me you were losing control, that he could save the company." My jaw tightened. "He didn't save it," she continued. "He drained it, took leads, rerouted clients." I stood and walked to the window. "You didn't come to apologize," I said quietly. "You came to get ahead of the truth." She broke. "I never meant to destroy you." I turned back. "You didn't," I said. "You just made sure I had nothing left to stand on." She left in silence, and for the first time, I felt clarity. 2 days later, I made the call. A lawyer. Receipts. Evidence. Court wasn't revenge. It was accountability. Derek lost everything he stole, and as I stood outside the courthouse, phone buzzing with messages from returning clients, I realized something. Ashes don't mean the end. Sometimes they're just kindling. It was a quiet Sunday afternoon when the knock came. Nicole was out getting groceries. I was sitting on the porch, coffee in hand, watching amber leaves tumble across the sidewalk like they were trying to outrun the wind. The knock was soft, hesitant. I knew who it was before I opened the door. Madison stood there in a long coat, hair tucked into a scarf, eyes red, like she'd been arguing with sleep for days. "Brandon," she said, "please, just 5 minutes." I stepped aside, not because I owed her anything, but because some doors need to close properly. She walked in slowly, taking in the room, the warmth, the quiet jazz playing from the kitchen speaker, the life that no longer belonged to her. "I still love you," she said. "I didn't come to rewrite history. I just couldn't live with how it ended." I looked at her, not with anger, not with longing, with peace. "You left," I said gently. "Not during a fight, not in chaos. You left when I was bleeding." She cried. "But Nicole stayed," I continued, "when there was nothing to stay for." She nodded. "I see that now." When she left, the door didn't sound like an ending. It sounded like relief. A week later, I bought a ring. Simple, honest, no flash. That night, I knelt in our living room. "Nicole Harlow," I said, "you didn't fix me. You stood beside me while I fixed myself." She cried, laughed, said yes before I finished. Our wedding was small. No spotlight, no performance, just love that didn't run when things got hard. Standing there, holding her hands, I realized something. The real victory wasn't money. It wasn't court. It wasn't proving anyone wrong. It was finding someone who stayed when walking away would have been easier. That's the quiet win. Do you think Madison's confession mattered? Or was it too late to change anything? Tell me in the comments. If this story made you feel something, like share it with someone who needs help. Subscribe, because more stories like this are coming. This was my story.